or an integration?
Yeah, like with my work, the way I even bring the medicine into the work, it doesn't happen like it's not it's not everything basically. So this is the thing. It's a long process. Depending where everybody is. That obviously there needs to be the psychological work to start, especially with working with the shadow self,
Yep.
which is very, very important. That has been a game changer for me also, I believe for you too.
Every day, bro.
The shadows are very dense.
Every day, brother.
No, and this is the thing, like actually initiating the conversations so that they can start to connect with the fact that because we pedestalize in a sense our parents, from when we are young, and I don't know if that was the case for you, it was for me, because essentially we see them as our gods. They created us and like we seek everything from them.
Yeah.
But I think like for most of us, like we grow up and we never actually like bring them down so we can actually see them for who they are and how their own unprocessed wounds or the way they raised us, what impact they had on us, and how the patterns that we carry from them actually show up in our lives. Because the thing is, for me, the greatest indication that I'm really when I tried to start doing that work with myself was actually realizing, for example, with my dad, it wasn't that perfect thing that I thought it was. I actually went through so many things that I need to process that. I disconnected from my essence, like to actually satisfy my dad's needs and everything else. So it's actually like bringing them down to actually see them for who they are, initiating those conversations and actually supporting the clients on connecting with what happened and how to process all that. Because there's a lot of unprocessed material 100%. When you go there. There's a lot of grieving that we need to do from our inner child, all the unprocessed emotions like that we still carry. And essentially when you start to connect like with that little kid inside of you, there's a lot to come through.
Yeah.
There's a lot to come through.
Would you agree that whether it's plant medicine, whatever, like the mother and father wound is what occupies the majority of our shadow self, and that needs to be faced at some point? If not, predominantly it's going to show up in our intimate relationships.
Oh, massively. Massively. That's why I do believe like intimate relationships are such the perfect basically container. So you can really, it will reveal to you everything that you need to work on.
Yeah, everything. You don't know you yet love about yourself.
Literally. Yeah. Because we're spending so much time with someone else, and we constantly have reflections. So for people like us that we already are on that journey, we have the ability to actually see and work through the triggers and constantly receive that feedback from the other person of where our work is.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And this is I feel is a very important component of the inner work process. Actually understand and being present with that, of what your external environment and the mirrors that you have in your life are consistently trying to tell you about yourself. Because the shadow is such a sneaky thing, and especially if you've never done this kind of work, obviously there's so many things in the dark that you don't know how they govern your life.
Yep. It's all about bringing it to light, baby.
Yeah, but you have to go into the dark. And that's why even when you mentioned about like, your personal example with a client and Catholicism and it's in general religion, I do feel religion has actually sheltered us and disconnected us from half of our experience.
Yeah.
Because completely disconnected us from darkness and evil.
Yes.
That's a thing. And if you completely deny that and it doesn't exist at all, how are you going to even connect with the dark inside of you?
Yeah, well, what are they talking about when they talk about the devil?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
they make it a person and they bypass it, but just keep going.
They made God the same. That's the problem.
Yeah.
They made everything outside of us. That's the thing. Where it's actually the complete opposite. You have to actually go in, and this is where you're gonna find everything. That's the thing. It's very, very important. And actually going through the dark to find your light, that's actually the path.
Tell me about your path then, and the initiation on the path, because we've got straight into the meat of this, which I love.
Mm-hmm.
But what was it darkness that led you to plant medicine?
No,
I know your first,
yeah.
I know your first experience was beautiful and it was blissful, then our child work. But I'm talking about then going deeper into that.
Yeah.
How did you get to the point of being a custodian of this work?
Yeah. So when I started with my process with medicines, it wasn't actually with the sacred ones. I mentioned before, like MDMA was my first experience basically, and I had this beautiful moment. I remember like sitting by myself, because I think I didn't sleep for two days after have my first ever experience. I was so excited, and I remember like sitting outside in a backyard listening to music, and I had all of my thoughts and you know, like a lot of the craziness outside of myself, and I started actually trying to piece the puzzle. So I had this massive opening, and then progressively, because when I connected with substances, I was very mature, especially like mentally. I started educating myself, and I started basically using everything to learn about myself and process my things. So when I entered those spaces, I was actually in a very, very dark moment in my life. I was close to, like early 30s to close to mid 30s. And I was experiencing, like I came out of narcissistic abuse. All of a sudden I have already started bringing all this material in the front, confronting basically like fatherhood, motherhood, my own behaviors, like my manipulation, you know, like I had to confront also like my own bullshit. So it was so much that I had to deal with at once, and it was so confronting, but I made the commitment with myself that I'm gonna look in the mirror every day and I'm gonna stop lying. I have to face myself properly. So as soon as I made that, I started engaging basically more and more into those spaces, because I saw the benefit, and I saw what actually did to me. So for me, I went there as a student, first of all, and with the intention to heal and learn about myself. Think about that. After my first ayahuasca, I went to a San Pedro ceremony, a Huatsuma, and it was a men's gathering. So I remember myself like having my first experience with a men's circle. Being around the fire, being on medicine, being so open and connected with myself. Yes. And guess what? Nobody believes it actually when I mention this. I remember, you know, the facilitator, like the shaman, had like a talking stick. So he basically started the whole process, and he was going around. And I remember myself, as everybody was talking and I was listening, and I was in this beautiful state looking in front of me in the fire, I remember like feeling all this intensity within me, but then at the same time hearing my inner critic beating the shit out of me. Nobody's gonna understand you because of your accent. You've been there a lot.
Oh, bro.
Who the fuck are you to even say anything? You know, like all sorts of things. And as soon as the talking stick came to me, I couldn't even lift my eyes up. I sat there, I paused, I froze, yeah. And I just passed it on.
Oh, wow.
And my first two experiences, it was literally like that.
Okay.
So everybody was waiting for me actually like to speak and everything, because they loved my presence and my energy. Yep. I was just freezing, man. So that's the thing. And because I saw actually like it was a great sign for me actually where I am with myself, yeah, and how I even view myself, I wanted to bring myself into those spaces more. So I can confront all of that, all of my fears, all of the stories. So the more I actually went in, it came to a point that finally I found the courage. I overcame the fear and the stories, and I found the courage to share for the first time. And even just having the experience, like because you are in such an open state, hearing my voice and just sharing, and actually seeing for the first time myself, I was expressing from a heart place and not, yes, actually like the mind. You know, I finished, I passed it on, and everybody clapped, and like I received so much love and appreciation. I'm like, oh, it wasn't that bad.
Yes,
like, I can do this.
Yes, bro.
I can do this, you know.
Yeah, your voice matters, bro. How you articulate stuff is amazing. I'm going to go back I'm going to weave a little bit about your background and what else you're doing, which I think is connected. So speaking about the mind, our beautiful hearts as men, and how the medicine helped open that up for you as well. But your background as an athlete as well, and now the other thing that you're doing is Satori Elite. Is that a part of, like, maybe in the beginning, what did plant medicine give you that high performance only in the physical never gave you? And is the Satori part of, supplementary to plant medicine, or is that something that's completely separate, what you're doing with Satori? So I want people to know this, because you definitely embody both, bro.
Yeah, no, thank you, brother. Thank you. Yeah, actually, you know, coming from that background, because my dad was a professional football player, so I grew up, and the first thing I learned how to say the name of my team before I actually said dad and mom.
Who was your team?
Olympiacos.
Hey.
That's the thing. So I grew up like in an environment that's what I learned, and you know, it was there for me from the moment I was born. So learning through those spaces as a young boy, and then as a teenager and everything, and obviously there's that discipline aspect. There's also being around men consistently and having like some figures to guide you in some ways. You know, we both know they're not the healthiest ones, but you know, at least they taught us things. What I wanted to do also with my own work, it was actually support also that younger version of myself. Beautiful. Because I know the struggles, I know like the psychology of things, I know what we deal with internally, like as young men, like with being athletes, and I wanted to do that. And I had the opportunity to actually work with athletes, with professional athletes in very high level from different sports. I even had like MMA fighters. So one of the athletes that I work with, Cody Haddon, he came to me, he was not even 23 years old. I don't think there must be another young athlete at this age, especially on this sport, that seeked support in that way. And he came to me after the only loss that he had, and he goes to me, I have 3 months, I'm taking 3 months off from training, fix me.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay, brother. You know, like I was so excited to go through a process like that with a professional athlete, and literally we did 3 months. He went through such a deep process. Who he came out after that 12 weeks, completely different. He hasn't lost a fight. He got his contract with the UFC, and he's literally achieving his dream after that by just committing to a season of even work, seeking support and seeking someone to guide him. Completely changed everything. And I've seen it.
And compassion,
that's it. And all those young men are seeking is literally like a figure, like a healthy role model that can feel safe with, to express themselves, go through a process that they can actually understand what happened to them and how it affects them, and just come out on the other side so connected, because the way they're gonna show up in everything that they do, no matter what sport you do, going through a process like that young, which is like an initiation, and that's how I treat it, because that's my path also. So going through a process like that will change everything, and it's gonna reveal to you so much more, and the way you're gonna show up as an example, because this is the thing, professional athletes, like we idolize them, you know, and we need more healthy examples in that regard. So the more professional athletes actually seek this kind of support and do this kind of work early on, imagine the impact that they're gonna have with the interviews they do, the things that they share, the things that they promote. It's a completely different thing, and they're gonna influence younger generations and younger men in such a different way. So for me, I see the ripple effect of that afterwards.